Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day. We'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go. So Bitcoin getting a little bit of a rejection beneath this 44K region of the daily resistance level here that a bunch of wicks and candle closes have occurred on the daily time frame. And do we continue to oscillate between these 786 and 886 levels of this diagonal pitch fan we've had pricing since January of this year? What is in store for BTC as the alts fly? The alts are absolutely going on a rally. Hopefully you guys have been positioned in some nice alts like ADA and AVAX. Let's go ahead and take a look at the liquidity to see if there is going to be a hiccup on the candle close or not. What is high block capital? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. So we get to see where those crispy characters are. So let's do it now. Whoa, I gotta log in real quick. Give me 1 second. Log in complete and boom, back. All right, so let us see where we go. So as we started to come up into this level here at, give me a second, as we started to come up to the 44,774 mark and liquidated some of these shorts, we started to drift into the 50x and 100x longs that opened up into resistance. And as we drop down here, as per our prediction yesterday, we are starting to get a little bit more interest in shorts to the tune of $156 million that they are starting to retrace into here at 43,908. So people opening up the short as it drops, not a good look. So they are coming back to grab this at 43,908 perhaps, as the alts fly on in the face of the rise here. Let's go ahead and see what we were saying. We were talking about the 12-hour candle close. So we can delete this. I just want to see what we were talking about. We were saying that this cross down event, watch this candle close and see if it puts the cross in, and it did. So we now have the candle confirmation cross of the 12-hour, which should give us a little bit of a retracement. Does that mean it will be forever? Not necessarily. We are in extreme bullish territory with profit taking on alts could re-inject into BTC and bounce even higher. So be very aware of that. 6 hours still being rejected off of the cloud here, but we're jumping the gun. Let's go ahead and look at the higher time frame pools. Shout out to everyone here. Take a look at Link. Sure, we'll do that in a second. It's fatality season. That's for sure.
Fatality.
But yeah, let's go and put this filter on max liquidity for the 7-day. So we talked about the possibility of coming up to this 45.6 region. So that's what we mean by watch out on the shorts. If we go and retrace down into some of these pools at the 42.5 level, we could just as easily come up to this region thereafter with the fury to close out the candle up here. Especially with all the alts taking off now, people could just be waiting in an order block to reposition in down here for a surge back up at a discount level for this range, internal range liquidity. So if we go to the 1 month, the 1 month also having this 45.5 region to take up here, possibly 45.7 being where it tapers. If we go to the 3 month, 3 month, also percolating double-digit pools now up at that 45.6, so that we could come up to that 60 billion on the 3 month time frame. Be aware that there are pools percolating in that 42.6 region, so coming down to here at some stage. Also 6 month. So Bitcoin's pretty stable as of the moment here, 45.3, 31 billion. So we can look at some alts if you like. We'll go ahead and jump right into the alts to give them their due diligence. So there's 59 million up at 45.2 and beyond, basically on the 2 year. Let's go back to the monthly and start to jump into the oscillators. It is Sunday, December 10th on this year 2023. Let's go ahead and throw on the oscillators now. Heads up display is on. Link in the description for more, momentummaster.info. Scroll down to features, toggle everything you like at your leisure. You could read about the trend cloud, the stochastic array, all the things that we go over every day with the momentum. So this baseline cross on the 6 hour basically cascaded to the 12 hour, which is what we were talking about. And this 12-hour cascade closed and locked in. So we could see a little bit of a retracement down to this golden pocket region, and it would not be strange to note that that could occur. We've seen it happen over and over again, even in bullish conditions. If we look at the daily, we are rejecting off of the daily baseline here. Daily baseline getting some bearish divergence up in this region here, making a higher low on the money flow with this crystal locked in here as we curve ball down the money flow beneath the RSI, suggesting at some point you can get a surge up. If we go to the 3-day time frame, 3-day is muddy. Even Steven on the money flow and the RSI, the KD lines coming up. Williams looking to suppress at some point. 22 also locked in a cross down event. The Williams flashing a alarm, so we could get that suppression of the 22 with this cross down event on the 12 and the 22 now locked and loaded. Do we see that drop down to a bullish order block idea down in the discount region of this candle here at 42.5. 12-hour also resetting the KD lines of the stochastic. Williams has yet to reset at all, and going down into the 6 hour. 6 hour had some bearish divergence here on the money flow as we came up here, and we are seeing this possible suppression as the Williams starts to cross that threshold of the alarm and the open lines here. Does this start to cascade in a manner to the 6 hour suppression that we were talking about, with the 12-hour suppressing the 6 and the 4 hour also not taking off in its entirety as the alts play ball and it chills out here. Let's look at how the cloud is behaving. The cloud is still pointing mighty to that 2 o'clock angle. What's up? So coming to that 2 o'clock angle and possibly curving late at a later date. Now, all right, so coming to the 4 hour, the 4 hour is pushing back down again. This is why if you see this hit a 50 and get rejected, you're like, why is that happening? Well, there is the Williams to contend with. These are all momentum indicators that work in synergy with one another, so knowing what one is doing while the other is being suppressed gives you that clue with that cross down event. Hourly time frame is ambiguous on the oscillators. Let's look at what's happening here. We went to the cloud, got a slight bounce, eventually rejected off of the cloud here, and then saw the acceleration off of the cloud rejection. Now we're holding the super trend on the hourly time frame, a very minor trend that was broken back here on Thursday. Do we come down and reclaim this wick at 42.821 and come down to a pocket region of this local impulse? That is the question. If we go to the 15 minute is doing its oscillations between here, but ultimately failing as the suppression on those higher time frames we just went over kicks in, perhaps. And yeah, seeing this rejection is nice, as we are still in effect with the cross down event on the hourly baseline suppressing the price. You can read about the baselines here. First sign of reversal, they had the cross over here, and it's been downside since. This is why we turn our opacity down. So we're gonna just jump right into the alts, because the alts are doing their thing, getting this bounce off of this very bullish cloud. If we look at how it closed, we had this deviation level of this impulse here, this impulse retrace idea. We are up in this 706 trapdoor rejection level of the 468 billion level. So there is this deviation zone that we are coming up into, which the 618 also coincides with $500 billion mark for alts. So coming back possibly into this wick over here, and or candle bodies from over here, some $500 billion marks as the alts surge up into this region. This 236 level held pretty strong, so we are on our way to an alt season. The adaptive moving average also holding and sensitively moving up. Immediately got that rejection off the 706 here for this trend-based fib level, and total 3 still in surge mode. So where would you like to see? You said we wanted to take a look at Link. Let's take a look at Link first. So we were taking a look at Link over the impulse retrace idea here, held the 236, came up to the 1382, rejected down to the 0.65, started to make its way back up to a take profit level. We are talking about possibly coming down into this region, was it? Let me see. We're gonna reject this. Yeah, we were talking about coming up into this level again, and we did, and beyond. Use this as an order block of the cloud kiss. To simplify, one thing we often do is talk about the cloud kiss. What do I mean by that? Well, here on the 12-hour on BTC as well, we inverted the cloud and held the cloud and bounced up. Now when we bounce up from the cloud, oftentimes we come back and kiss the cloud and continue. This cloud kiss retrace idea happens over and over again. Happened here. So we also did it over here. We didn't even quite hit the cloud, but we came back and we retested the outskirts of the cloud here on the outskirts, and then we were gone. So these clouds trading with the cloud on Momentum Master is good. We're still thin on the cloud here. This was a thicker volume burst up. Now we're starting to taper on the volume end of things, as this is a volumetric cloud. If we look at what Link is doing, now we're going to go into the liquidity for Link to be clear, not guess where targets might be. High block is about $90 a month, so you get this cool analysis free of charge, right? So this is pretty cool, right? So you have basically you cleared all the range here on the monthly. If we go to links, this is a 6-month chart, so they just cleared all the liquidity. Here's the 2-year for Link. Yeah, they basically cleared all of the range liquidity here for the shorts. So there's no more shorts to grab. So coming back into a bunch of longs down here might be the thing. So if you are in a position of long, it's always a good thing to pay yourselves on green bursts up. Don't hope for more. Trim and be grateful. So let's go ahead and look at that Link 1-minute chart to see where all the liquidity lies below. So as on this 1-minute time frame, you are seeing shorts open as we drop down here. So we could realistically, we retraced into some of these longs. We could come back into some of these $1 million players up here for the range hit again at 1739. There's still some shorts. We took out all of the imbalance in longs. There was 199 million imbalance. They came back, took all of it on the 1 minute, and now we're starting to bounce back into the shorts liquidity. So let's go ahead and take this off since this is a higher time frame, and let's go into the lower time frame for Link. First starting with the 4. So you had this nice entry 2 times here on the 6 time frames oversold here off the weighted moving average. Here again there was 5 time frames oversold off the 706 level. This was on Saturday, November 18th, and once again Tuesday. I think we were looking at this one on Tuesday if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so if we're still in the bullish trend based fib levels here. This is your projection tools. Once again, you use a impulse retrace theory here, and based off of how little we retraced gives you the math for this key level to look at for bullishness. We went up to that take profit region, and then yeah, it's still in effect, so we're not removing it necessarily. We could be coming up to this 17,765 level. We're holding this cloud on the 4-hour time frame, so the 4-hour cloud still strong in a manner here pointing up. You are getting some ambiguousness as it gives up the ghost and comes back on the 4-hour. You are on a cross down precipice for the 4-hour baselines here, so be aware of that. You don't have the baselines on your side anymore for the 4-hour. Same with the 6. The cross down event is confirmed. The last time we had that cross down, we did see some downside from Monday to Thursday, so be aware that this may be inbound for Link, same as before. The last time also before that, we had some here, we had some here, we had some here. Those cross down events are, there is some ambiguousness here at the cloud, but we are not at the cloud just yet. So we could come down to the 6-hour cloud and try to make a decision down here at 15,721. Is there liquidity that lines up with that is the question. There is 15,884. There's a little band of liquidity down here at 15,912. 15,912 would put you right around that cloud zone. So the 6-hour cloud, possibility of getting back in. The last time the 12-hour cloud bounced, we had that kiss to the cloud here on the 12. The 12-hour also coinciding with this trend-based fib level. So there's a lot of profit taking here in this region, the 1 to the 1382. We got above it for the first time, so this insinuates that it could go up to that 17,765 level. We had some bullishness off those 12-hour candles from Thursday, We have yet to see the cross down event of the 12 hours, so the 12 hours still looking to play out. Perhaps you had some bullish divergence, hidden bullish on the money flow here. So you had a higher low on price and a lower low on the money flow. So this was what gave this burst up on the money flow. So if you're already in a long, which is the smart play, if you were getting in down here and here, and you're wondering, should I hold, should I close, you could move your stop into profit. Let's go ahead and take a look at a 4-hour chart and put that stop loss calculator on and see what it says it should be. So it's saying at 15.25, so basically around this one level for bullishness. So if you have your stops here at that 15-cent mark, $15 mark, then you're basically still good to go. And that comes just about where the last bounce was. So if it breaks this level, then it's basically the bullish run is over. But I would be surprised if we do not make it up to that region, as the short liquidity does suggest that we come back up to that 17 mark, 1734. We can clear the entire range at 17,594. So 17,594 would put you at that 1618 region. And you don't really need patterns. You don't need any of that stuff. Patterns are tertiary to the liquidity. So even this head, shoulder, head did not necessarily play out. It got inverted. So best to just look at the momentum with the liquidity and the math. 3 pillars of trading are liquidity, math, and momentum. Those 3 things are all you need, and the structure will arise from that. So we are starting to see this possibility for Link to come up to, possibly come down to the cloud or test the super trend again, but then come up to that 17,765 region. And then what does it do from there? Let's go see if there is anything to wave a stick at over here on the left, because you do need to see where these order blocks, bearish order blocks, may be inbound. Here is a zone on the daily time frame, another one over here by the looks of it. So you have a lot of candle closes and wicks and everything. So up in this region is a bunch of liquidity that we could see people taking profit at as well. If it wicks up into that region here, would not be surprising. All right, hopefully that makes sense for Link. Anyone else with some alts? Yo, what's up, man? It's Peyton. Anyone got anything they want to look at? Oil, perhaps? I see that Peyton's been killing it with oil. Oil. We had a nuke that locked in there for a split second on the hourly time frame. All right, let's go back. Any alts, anything? So we're getting that rejection off of the hourly cloud, coming down to the projection we had from yesterday, perhaps recovering that wick. If we go to the Dixie getting that rejection off that 706 region that we were talking about, perhaps. We had the rocket ship, took us up to here, starting to come back down again. We had gold. Gold exceeded expectations. Definitely that wick is interesting to note, a lot of times they come back to that wick. So coming back to that wick on the four-hour time frame could be a draw at some point. If we take this impulse here all the way to the top, we came into the 0.65 region for a bounce potential on gold. Is gold going to get some sort of bounce or reaction off this region, or are we going to trend into a deeper retrace down below? Coming to that pocket region and potentially getting a reaction off of this pocket. Came to the 0.65 of that. That was a mighty nice ABC reaction here. You have a first line of defense basically at an equilibrium region here. So if you come up to this for gold, possibly getting a reaction up into this region and then rejecting, who knows? We do have some bearish order blocks up in that region as well. Yeah. Let's see what anyone has. Yep. You want to see oil, CL. CL, crude oil. So we saw those rejections off the fair value gaps. We were putting out an idea here, and I also saw some sort of rejection there, but it's all in the past. So let's go ahead and reset everything from scratch. We'll turn this off while we look at the levels, key levels first and foremost. So for oil, all right, so on the oil side of things, we had a reaction off of this bottom. We had a nice buyback wick. We have yet to sweep this wick here or attack this wick here. There's a wick there, and there was some reaction over here. So these key levels are order block slash points of interest on the daily time frame. We had some sweeps of these regions here too in the past. Okay, so that is a kind of support range, if you will. We have yet to recover this daily wick from May, and as we retrace back down, are we heading in that region? If we take a fib retracement tool, draw this from bottom to top, and we do deep retrace, we've come into the 786 and we didn't really have a reaction. We had a kind of reaction here, but starting to go a little bit deeper, suggesting that the draw is continuing to be to the downside to attack that. And if we look at the weekly time frame, the weekly time frame suggestive of a kind of A, B, C structure. Not sure, maybe the winter weeks cause war to slow down a bit and travel on, people staying home. I don't know what causes this to occur, but perhaps having a hit into that region on the weekly draw. It looks like it's traded pretty fairly. We did not sweep this wick up here on the weekly time frame, so there is some possibility of sweeping up in that region, but you do have a massive wick down here too, and some weekly draws potentially on the weekly fair value gap levels from here to here. So there could be a drawdown into that gap zone if you disrespect the 786, of course. Coming to the daily draw, you have, it looks like you had a bunch of days that were green up in there that we just ignored. There's a bunch of fair value gaps in here too. If we look at where we stand though on the momentum, now it's time to take a look at Momo. How's the Momo doing? Let's see. So we have a current rocket ship event. When was the last time? Sometimes some rockets get suppressed here on the daily time frame. It generally has a bounce from them. We had a previous nuke up here which locked in and brought us down lower. We have a daily rocket that locked in from Wednesday, so possibly having a 786 reaction at least up into a region. Where would that region be? Possibly up in here. It looks like we traded fairly. Yeah, we came back into the gap there. There's a lot of fair value gaps that were recovered on the daily time frame. There is a BPR fair value gap here on the daily that we didn't come back to inside of that. If we go to a lower time frame here, this is a BPR inside of this range. So this little bit of happiness in here, we could bounce up into that at 77.44. Once again, we have that rocket ship, so coming up into this region and then possibly rejecting into that deeper retrace idea. I don't know what causes the sector to move, so I'm kind of out of my league here, but the nukes and the rocket ships do have reactions, even if they drift a little bit higher first. Even if you were swinging off of that, that would have played out. So does this rocket ship take off here and start to head lower and attack this wick at some point in the week following? That seems to be the case for oil. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it for that. Anyone else? Beam or bonk? If we have time, let's take a look. Beam or bonk? Tome no rego. Tome no rego? Like what? You heard my son saying something about like clear Legos or something? Let's see. Bonk. Bonk. So they had some nice little rocket ships down here on September alongside BTC also having those rockets, and that took off to a massive degree. I mean, you're at the end of the line here by the looks of it. I mean, you're basically in price disco, and that's where you would use this thing here. So you would take the impulse from here, your trend-based fibs, you go to impulse, and the retrace, the 236 held over here, and boom. Now we came up to that 2 level. What is the liquidity on something like this? What, it's saying average volume 2 trillion, 190 billion in volume. I guess that's a billion in their token. That's not in US dollar, is it? What is bonk? So if we look at the hourly time frame, immediately getting the cross down event, we have yet to reclaim the baselines on the hourly time frame, so this cross down is still in effect. Cloud, you got the rejection off the cloud here on the hourly, and possibly heading lower. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour cross down event is confirmed. We still have this open space in the baselines that suggests that this could just be getting started. You have the Williams also overbought and coming down here, possibly suppressing the 4-hour stochastic. That was a mighty red candle as somebody took their profits at a good level higher in this 2 region. We're coming down to the 1382 as people reposition into this, but the 6-hour cascade of the overbought status could bring us lower. The time, that's a nice big 12-hour red candle too. Ideally, you'd like to see a double top event for a true reversal, so at some point possibly coming up into some of this. It looks like they traded it fairly on the 6-hour. They came back slightly for a V-shaped, and there is a line of defense here at this wick, so they could come up to this region and continue lower. But that was a mighty massive sell-off into the exit liquidity retail long FOMOers, so possibly coming into this. Also traded fairly on the hourly with this cloud kiss idea, so that is not a fair value gap. We have one up here for this region. Basically up in here. So it's possible it comes up for a double top scenario and then makes its true reversal. These oversold levels, these number 3s, is 3 time frames oversold. We just went over what they were, the 4, the 1 hour, and possibly the 5 right now. No, the 15. So you're possibly getting a 4-hour play out of this at some point. If we look at the level here, so this local impulse here, we're going to remove this trend-based fib. It played out, so we're going to just look at the local impulse here, and I think we're coming back to the equilibrium, just below equilibrium, into a pocket. So it's possible we come, hi, what's up, kiddo? Possibly come down to this reaction off the 618 first. You good? Did you eat? You had a sandwich? Was it yummy? What was it? What type of sandwich was it? Ham? That's cool. I want a ham and cheese. I'll get it after this. So yeah, possibly watching a reaction off of the 618. Maybe you see some sort of hit from down here. It's possible they're like inducing some more. It looks like it's already having this ABC reactionary move, but possibly getting something to go up to this level for a double top, for a shoulder head, possible shoulder down for bonk. I don't know what bonk is, but it's bonking. Hopefully that made sense. All right, so what's next? What is total on crypto? Let's take a look at total on crypto. Boo boo boo. 1 day. Daily time frame. So we wicked into the 618 of a daily retrace level from here. So we are at this impulse to the downside here from basically April to June, that impulse has basically, we're in that region here, and also there is some kind of resistance levels on the daily time frame. Let me turn this off real quick, boop, 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 to get you situated. So if we go into here, take a look at some wickage / daily close levels. There's some significant daily candle closes here. So this one also rejection. Yeah, that's a pretty good level. There's a daily candle close back here in 2021, some wick right off that. So that 1.658 trillion mark. Also in here we have one here, I would say. Some nice little levels at 1.727. So as we come up into this region, do we start to see some sort of reaction in this zone, this resistance zone on the daily time frame? If we go to a higher time frame, 3-day closing in 2 days time, we had the rocket ship down there. That's all good, but let's see, coming to, yes, I remember. So on the 3-day, we are coming to the adaptive here. The last time we came to the adaptive was in December of 2021, initially bouncing in November and then fading off of it, bearishly retesting and falling down. So we're back at the 3-day adaptive moving average. Do we reclaim it? We watched Bitcoin reclaim its adaptive and close candles above it. So we would need to see a 3-day closing strongly above this and holding it for a true reversal to be inbound. But even still, we had some reactions off of it over here, and then 2 3-day candles. 6 days later, we bearishly broke beneath it strong with fervor. So there is just closing off of it does not necessarily mean we SR flipped it. So we are entering into some resistance levels for total. Definitely there is something to be said with these support levels that broke, and we are coming back to test that as resistance, perhaps. If you come to the daily time frame, daily time frame is getting some bearish divergence on the RSI that is currently drifting higher off the alt rally. If we go into the 12-hour time frame, we got that inversion of the cloud over here on the 27th of November. We're starting to get that flash of the 12-hour cross down event for total. Has yet to close just yet, so not set in stone until it's set in stone. So we could be drifting higher into this. We didn't wick into the 618 just yet, so coming back into this region possibly and seeing some sort of reaction up in here. If we go to the 6-hour, getting a nuke locked in at an extremely bullish conditions. The nukes will not be as accurate as the rocket ships. The rocket ships have been extremely accurate since we've been in a bullish structure. So the rocket ships that appeared down here were few and far between and were extremely accurate. In the bullish side of things, the nukes will not be as accurate, but they will bring with it some pause. So we are having some pause on the total on the 6-hour, seeing this bearish divergence starting to play out, perhaps Williams suppression and drifting higher on the shorts. So the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour also having this bearish divergence, which is starting to absorb. I mean, this is just straight up bullishness though. You're starting to come beneath the trend cloud here. Ideally, you'd want to see some confirmation where we break down at the cloud and then you wait for that bearish retest where we come to the cloud and then you go like this. So if you were looking to short, it would be something when we break super trend, break the cloud, and do that with a commitment, with a conviction, and then do that from there. In terms of looking where it could continue, it would be nice to see some confluence stack up in some daily resistance levels up here for me personally, but seeing some wickage up into that region. 4 hours still oversold, starting to come down here. The Williams gassed and drifting on the shorts. Hourly time frame, the hourly time frame starting to still pointed to 2 o'clock, but starting to taper in a manner here. You had that immediate sell-off of something up here on Saturday. So as people enter this, they're pre-selling their positions, but there are some players probably waiting up until here, so you could probably see some drift up in this region. If we take the trend-based fib just from this level alone, so let's just take this impulse and this retrace. So this small impulse and this retrace into the 0.5 level tells you where you could go. So up in this region, we rejected off the 1.615 trillion level, came back to a 6.5 buyback, and if we maintain this 786, we could be coming up into here. So this gives a little bit more of a clear projection for that local idea. Hourly time frame with the 4 hour potentially bouncing up into here, ultimately getting fatigued across multiple time frames as per the nuke. So a sector switch and or reversal retrace idea at that point would be reasonable to think. For total market cap next week might be interesting to see some sort of nice rejection slash retrace. We're also doing that on total 3 as we enter into some levels here. We already did that analysis before, so that is where we are going, perhaps on this range over here. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. The Bitcoin USDT dominance also has a rocket ship at a key level coming down, possibly to the 5.53 region, but a rocket ship nonetheless. And Bitcoin dominance coming to a pocket. If the dominance picks up and dumps, then you could see this in a dumping case as well. So that is where we are for the Bitcoin and some sectors. If we look at NQ has the contract rollover coming soon, so the contract's basically getting a little bit wonky on a lot. I'd rather look at S&P, the S&P, hold up, move this. So we're coming back to the top of the range here, drawing into the weekly liquidity over here. Coming back to this wick on the S&P over here perhaps, and recovery of that weekly wick. There is a potential first line of defense draw down in here that you could be coming to on the lower within this weekly time frame after seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you could be coming up into here and then starting to make a draw back down again after reclaiming some of these highs. contract rollover into the new year, people trying to sell their positions to do taxes is also something you have to think about leading into the end of the year, and the contract rollover here. Let's go ahead and turn this on. Got the daily cross down event. You have this gap up here, so coming back into this gap at some point. So possibly coming up into here, rejecting and coming down into this, looking into next week. The Dixie, this is a bearish trend-based fib level. If it comes down into here, does it start to see a bounce up higher from that zone? And shoulder head and shoulder out of this bearish trend we've been in. There was a reaction off the 618 plus a rocket ship there. So we could be seeing some sort of reversal on the dollar, perhaps. Let's go back to Bitcoin and wrap it up in a nutshell. So Bitcoin in the Asian session, what is it doing? We're getting some buyback here as people trim their alt positions and maybe reposition into a surge for BTC. Let's go ahead and look at the liquidity one last time. All right, so we were talking about possibly coming back into this 100x pool of shorts as the shorts opened into some support level. So this guy over here, $156 million at 43,908, looking to get liquidated soon. Probably in the next few minutes this guy will be gone as they open their position down here into support. Not a good look. So they're reshaping into their position on the weekend. Not a smart idea to reveal your position that heavy into support like that. So that guy will get destroyed. Do they come up for the partner in crime of the 50x up here at 44,364? Or do they retrace lower into some of these longs that are still open? 217 million down at 42,414. We have that marked off already down here. So possibly retracing into some of these shorts and then heading down to recover this wick and hit react off the golden pocket. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it for BTC. And as we see the total 3 and total possibly coming up into these resistance levels. All right, well, thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same. Bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff.